So, here we are again. Back with making YouTube. After a whole year since the last update, or the last video I should more say. That was the Dragon Ball Ironforce guide type thing, whatever we can call it. But we are going to be back again, making content, and I've been thinking of doing or coming back for some time now, and it's finally happening. I've been thinking of doing it for maybe 8 months now, but hadn't really got the time or the motivation to do it for multiple reasons that I'll go into on this video to explain exactly why. This will also be on Twitter as well. So by the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can check the link out in the description. But more of that in the future, of course. So we also going back to Twitch, by the way. So I'll be doing live streams yet again. But when I'll be back, not 100% sure. But there will be a new video coming out next week already. But I already planned on what I want to do, but it has been a little bit difficult to figure out. Thumbnails and all that, and even the cover screens or whatever you see whenever you go into on YouTube channels, you see like a cover photo and all that. That I hadn't been super into yet, or hadn't even made. I only had the thoughts of how the vision is. But in all that, let's get into what has been happening the last couple years, or maybe half a year, 1.5 years. So after Honolulu was back in 2024, a lot of things happened on my job that made things really stressful, and that was not fun. It actually affected me quite a lot, which actually my local players actually have noticed this, that I actually changed my habits a little bit, because I actually was way more stressful than ever before. And honestly, my 2025 season, honestly, I wasn't really happy with it, except for, well, the top 8 finish was nice, obviously, but I wasn't satisfied with it, because I feel like I took a deck from my friend Ricky, who has been playing it for like a month and a half at that point. But I just picked it up 2 days before the regional and made top 8. And his best finish with it was top 64 at that same regional. So I feel like I took like something for him that he has been trying to make work for some time. And I just got the result that I honestly think he was deserving. I didn't feel that top 8 was deserved at all. I was just very lucky with the run. Not just with our matchups, but also like I played a tech card that not a lot of people actually knew about or even knew how to play against, which was Toad Screw, of course. Yeah, that's how it is. And I didn't feel satisfied. And again, I didn't feel satisfied about the season at all. I got a top 32 finish, which was nice, of course, but I barely made top 32. Let me say like that. I won by under 1% opponent's wins difference, which is like kind of ridiculous to think about. And it was a little sad for the one who got third, honestly. That was really sad. Top 8, again, it's nice, but didn't feel deserved at all. And then after that, I didn't do it well at all for the rest of the season, except for one day 2 finish at Utrecht, which I kind of did okay. Didn't really make top 64 as I hoped. After the last round, I got a tie. But unfortunately, that didn't happen, of course. Which is fine. And the rest of the season, yeah, even the World Championship didn't go as well at all. I took Pole Force, which I thought was a good play, but nope, it was not. It was a really bad call. I still stood by my deck choice because I felt ready for the event. Because I either go very well at the event, or it's going really poorly. And yeah, it went very poorly. So that's just happens sometimes. At the World Championship, I took a chance and didn't work out. So for this season, I decided to try and be a little bit more consistent than before. And honestly, I had not been satisfied with any of my runs so far, except for the Dansk Regional, which I actually thought that was going to be the next event I was going to break out. only to lose my winning in against Christian Fontenot, which is a fellow Dane player. And he made top 4, so that was nice to see, of course, but it was kind of fortunate that I had to lose my winning in after I felt so disappointed with my last 2 runs. But yeah. But I cannot complain. Losing my winning in was actually kind of... I was actually fine with it because it was a winning in situation, and I know that no matter what, a Danish player was going in top cut, so it was a win-win situation anyway. So, and even though it was a little bit sad to bobble out top 32 for the $1,000, but that's what it is. I was still satisfied with it, even with the bobble out. And Stuttgart did not go well. Variance did not get to me at all, or was not on my side, I should say. And yeah, that has been my season so far. I'm still looking pretty strong into the league, into getting Worlds invites for the 5th time in a row, and my 5th Worlds invite. But I hadn't felt satisfied with any of the runs so far. And I'm hoping for Birmingham or UIC is going to be the runs. That's at least the goal for now. So yeah, I hadn't felt satisfied, but that's mainly because my job lately has been very stressful for the last year and a half now, and it is still kind of that same thing, but it got a little bit better over the last couple of months, which is nice, of course. It's less stressful, and I feel way more focused on the things that I can do right now. But that still doesn't take the chance, the fact that I still has been stressful for over a year now. But that's about to change. And I know what you're thinking. No, I did not quit my job. Of course, I'm not taking that risk. That would be not stupid, but a big risky, of course, which I don't want to take that risk. I want to have a backup plan just in case. Is YouTube and Twitch going to be that backup? Maybe. Who knows? I'll definitely take more time into it because I feel I have got a lot more things to do, right? I got less things to do, or way less things to think about lately, and yeah. And I just turned 30 this past New Year's Day. My birthday is on New Year's Day, and I just turned 30. So I was like, okay, I'm turning 30 now. What am I going to do? Is it going to be a new me? Am I going to change for the foreseeable future? Probably. But that's definitely going to change. I definitely feel like I need to change some things and the habits of my life. And one of the things is I want to start doing content again. Because I feel like that's maybe something that has definitely felt I want to do that for some time. And I want to go back to it. So, and I feel like this year might honestly be the perfect time for it. Where I feel I have not just the time, but also have the motivation lately. Especially for the time being. But I did mention I lost some sort of motivation to make some videos sometimes. That's because the game hasn't felt, in my opinion, not as fun sometimes. Especially during the time when I was playing Dragon Ball Iron Force back in Stuttgart, when it was just Reggie Drago format. That format was not fun at all to play. I didn't feel satisfied to try anything new or even find anything. And behind the scenes, it wasn't fun. I didn't really have fun with the game for some time. Until we got Bidoof back in Prismatic Evolutions in February last year. Which is kind of funny to think about that this is almost a year ago we got Bidoof. Now that I think about it. And Bidoof is honestly it's actually a pretty nice card. It's not even a unhealthy card by any means. It is a strong card, but not unhealthy for the game and had never been that. With that being said, Bidoof kind of changed a lot of the things that I actually was disliking about the game, where it was headed. But now I got a second problem, which the reason why Bidoof is now here, it pushed Dragon Ball Noir to be the best deck in the format, or not necessarily the best deck, but like just the most popular deck and it looks like to be the strongest deck in the format. And it's continuing honestly to be that since Bidoof came out. Gardevoir has been the best deck since rotation last year, obviously. because Garou was apparently really strong, which we all thought was really terrible. But turns out it was really powerful. Way better than it looked. With that being said, rotation was nice. Was nice. Was a nice reset to the format, and I really liked it. There was a lot of creativity happening. Terror Box was a new, really cool thing I really liked, but I never really felt much into it. I felt a little bit more with Zoroark. I thought that deck had way more potential to do way better than Terror Box, honestly. And Zoroark has been doing, in my opinion, a little bit better than a little bit less than Zoroark. I feel like Zoroark has just been better than Terror Box, honestly. What the way has been adapting. But to be fair, Zoroark has the issue with it. There has not been a correct 60 to go after. Like, every time we see new Zoroark do well, it's a different 60 than last time. Like, nothing has been like... It's not even like it's the same 59, 58 cards. No, it's like 5, 6, 7, even 8 cards different. Sometimes 10 cards different. Or even, you don't even play Darmanitan or Darumaka. You just play completely different. Maybe play Arven, Cyrano, Team Evo, whatever now is. Everything is just changing all the time. And that's the thing with Zoroark, it's so hard to predict sometimes. And that's why I was like, I'm not gonna build my time on playing Zoroark anymore. Because that felt too much to think about. And Terror Box was already like kind of refined in a way, but not a 60 because it's a little bit dependent on what's popular and what it can beat. So that's a little bit different of take, of course. But honestly, that's not the case when we come to the fact that Garou and Dragon Ball was basically the front runner of the post-rotation format and has since been that since, and nothing has changed. Dragon Ball Garou has been the same top deck. Goldengo has into the fray with Genesect V and Air Balloon, which is a nice thing to get a new top deck, I suppose. Even though I really despise the deck personally, because I don't think the deck doesn't feel like skillful at all. It feels pretty linear, honestly, in my opinion. And it's just like trying to beat everything with raw power and just draw half your deck on turn 2 or whatever it now is. But I don't take for granted that it's still like a top deck because it's really popular, because it's the new easiest deck to play. And that's why it's so popular. So I am respecting Goldengo no matter what the case is. Even though I dislike it, I still respect it. And definitely puts it where it belongs. It's still it's still one of the top 4 best decks right now. The issue then becomes that it has already seen some success here and there back when it was released. And it was not considered a new deck at all. It's just an old deck that just got a buff. Then we got Charizard back, which I was kind of happy with and a little bit biased because I really like playing Charizard. But the more I play, the more I feel like I'd rather play something new rather than play Charizard again. Because Charizard is really fun and Garou was also a lot of fun to play, at least for how I feel. But I definitely feel like I wanted to play something new. Just a new solid tier 1 deck that looks really good. The closest we got since Dragon Ball came out, actually back like almost, and that's almost 2 years ago, by the way, coming in June, maybe May, or something like that. That's almost 2 years ago Dragon Ball came out, and nothing really has been in that category of like being a tier 1 deck. That's the thing I'm missing right now. I'm missing a new tier 1 deck, and that's why I feel like the game has been kind of stale since Dragon Ball came out. Because nothing really tackles Dragon Ball very easily. It's so difficult to beat because it has effectively no weakness. Even though we have Lose Clefairy, I'm aware. But that's more an attack card than anything else. And it's just to boof Gardevoir in to actually have a chance against Dragon Balls. But that's basically what it is. And nothing has really changed, honestly. Like, yeah, we got Mega Box. But that's like it. And Mega Ball is starting to falling off lately, at least for what I have seen, because Dawn's Art is now a thing, and that beats literally half of over almost all the decks except for Dragon Ball. Which we kind of go back to the fact that if Dragon Ball is now the best, is now going to be the deck to play, then Gardevoir coming back, and then Gardevoir come back, then Charizard go back, and then Goldengo is like in the middle of this. It's like in the middle of the triangle that just happens all the time. It's like, it's not ending, and nothing really beats all those decks at the same time, or even stay consistent enough to beat them all. which is a little bit concerning, honestly, because the next set, which is, first of all, is a side set, so it doesn't have any new decks on it. We already seen in Japan, nothing has really changed, except for maybe a few cards that come into certain decks, and some rogue decks just popped up here and there because of some things that came out in the decks in the new sets, but nothing really has impacted a lot. So we're basically just waiting for rotation at this point to literally fix the game, and that feels a little bit terrible, honestly. I just hope we get a new tier 1 deck or something like that. Like, yeah, it could be a little bit terrible too in the long run. That okay, now we get a new tier 1 deck, and that becomes the new norm of, like, it's the tier 1 until it rotates, of course. So that circle continues. But then again, lately we hadn't got anything, except for maybe a couple Noctowl decks. Like, I think to me the closest deck we got to like a tier 1 contender since Dragapult's release, I feel like honestly has been Terrapago's pre-rotation, and that deck felt like it was missing something, but didn't have everything, and had some trouble against certain matchups. But then it's like I feel like the closest to be in that level, like Dragapult, and nothing has really changed since then. And I also know what some of you will say that, well, Dragon Ball wasn't a tier 1 deck when it came out. What are you talking about? Not necessarily in the beginning, but then people figured out that Regidrago was actually really good with Tiamat's Kokopon. And what did Regidrago usually do? Well, it usually just used Dragapult's attack because that was literally the best attack in the game at the time, and it was just like abusing it like no one has ever done. And it was way better than normal Dragon Ball because Dragon Ball couldn't follow along with the format because it was too fast. So yeah. It's basically just been Dragapult being the top runner of all the formats since it came out. First time it was through Regidrago until Bidoof came out, and then Dragapult was like the new front runner, without anything copying its attack. So yeah, the format has felt extremely stale since Dragapult came out, and nothing has really changed. And honestly, that has not been fun at all. I myself actually going into Birmingham in a couple weeks. I think it's 3 weeks right now, or maybe it's 4. I don't know exactly. But honestly, it doesn't feel. Any of the top decks that I'm looking at most of the time when I'm going to regional, I'm trying to play some of the best decks because I want to do well. But none of them seems appealing to me, honestly. First of all, because I don't like Goldango. God of War is fun, but I don't feel super comfortable with it, again, because it's like I play I play a lot now, and yeah, I kind of get stale at that point. Charizard is fun, but I play Charizard with 3 mages now, and only got 1 day 2, and the other 2 has been just horrible experience, honestly, because variance has been the case, and every time I picked Charizard, that has been the case since every time I picked Charizard to a regional, actually, because I got like 2 day 2 finishes with it, and that's it. The rest has been just losing my winnings all the time, because variance is apparently a real thing for someone, actually, sometimes, but it's just how it is sometimes. And my reason for not playing Dragon Ball does no events because I don't like the deck at all. It's not fun to play, and it feels very unenjoyable of an experience to just play it, and just like it feels like it just ruined the fun, honestly. I don't like that deck at all. I like Dragon Ball as a whole, but not with Dusknoir. So if I was playing it, I was going to play without Dusknoir, which I tried to do here last week with cutting the Dusknoir line and just play like straight pull again, because my local area started to play less Scarlet because of Dawnside hype, and then I could tag for the Dusknoir mirror match because I could just add Psyduck, then I can get Dusknoir. So I basically play like no Dusknoir, but they play like a couple cards that makes them a little bit inconsistent at that point because they can use the Dusknoir. I ended up winning the cup, which was nice, honestly, and I felt like a new life maybe could come in. I don't know, but I really feel like I wanted to play something new for once, instead of just constantly just play the same old deck, the same old match over and over again. That's why it feels incredibly stale right now, and that's why I feel not as motivating to make content lately, because I just don't want to repeat myself with the same decks all over the time. Which is why I'm hoping for rotation actually does a lot of shake-up, which honestly, when looking at cards going to rotate, a lot of things is going to happen. Dragapult will survive, obviously, even Dusknoir, but it's going to take a hit in consistency. What I mean with consistency is it losing Luminous Energy, which is actually kind of more huge when you actually think. Because that means you cannot just, you need 2 specific energies to get them all the time. We still have New Upper, that's right. But when we don't see a New Upper, you need 2 specific energies all the time, which is not the easiest thing to find. And by the way, we are also losing Halucha, which is not the biggest deal, but it's kind of a deal against the 7 HP Pokemon, so you can't really get sniped that easily. And also, the deck probably doesn't play Monkidori anymore because of the fact we're losing Luminous Energy, so you also probably don't want to play Dark Energy, which I don't believe it's going to be the case. You could play Crispin, but I don't expect to play Dark Energy. You could, but it sounds a little bit inconsistent. You're making the deck a little bit more clunky than that. So Dragapult is going to get a little bit of a consistency hit, and also losing Iono, of course, which is like a big deal, but every deck losing Iono anyway, so. But that's also another thing to mention, of course. So yeah, Dragapult does get hit in consistency in some form or another, and the way you could look at it. But the other 3 top decks we are losing to rotation, so what's going to be the big new deck? We don't know. We don't even know what the new set is. Japan will get it in a couple weeks, so we will probably see what's going to have, and what kind of impact it's going to have on the formats. Which I'm really excited to see what's going to come in and how good of the new cards are going to be to at least shake up the meta, because it has felt real stale. And I just try to play rogue decks for the time being, especially in my local area, because it has not been fun to play on any of the top decks lately, because it's the same deal all the time and it's not been fun. So yeah, less motivated to make content because I don't want to repeat myself I feel like I'm going just repeating myself all the time with the same matchups all the time, and I don't want to do that, which doesn't feel satisfying. And every time, and I haven't really, and honestly, most of the time back in the day, I was actually watching YouTube videos all the time with new decks and also like updated versions of like the top decks just to like see them. But that hasn't felt motivating to watch either, because it's just the same deal. You're just watching the same matchup all the time, and I don't want to do it, and I don't want to watch that. I'm just looking at the deck list, what you have up, okay, and then I just basically skip over the video. Because I'm just interested to see what the deck is, but I'm not gonna watch the gameplay whenever I see, okay, you're up against Godengo, okay, skip, Charizard, skip, okay, Gardevoir, skip. That's just been what it is to watch videos lately. Which is why I'm hoping for a rotation, honestly. That's the only thing I'm actually looking for, which everyone is looking for at this point, because it definitely feels like a lot of people seem to agree on. It's just feels incredibly stale. And if you have something you want to say about how you feel about the format, you can always do it in the comments, of course. Like, we like to have some conversations about this, because the format there's been a lot of talk about the format lately, and this is probably the biggest thing that most people are just talking about, and what everyone seems to agree upon, that it just feels incredibly stale, that nothing has really changed and nothing really new good is coming out. The live season has been pretty lackluster, honestly. Mega Evolution has been kind of nice of refining a new life in Mega Box and also giving us a couple of new interesting options. But Phantasmal Flame was just a boost to Charizard. Let's just be real. There's nothing new except and a new tag for Cornerstone, but that card doesn't. But Megalopon, it doesn't look good, honestly, except for being a Cornerstone tag, which I personally don't like. So yeah, so a little bit of a rant in a way, but also like an update for what has been happening and why I haven't been making videos lately. It's been really stressful with the job, less motivation just because the format's just been so stale, and I don't want to repeat the same matchups all over the time. And it just doesn't sound fun to me, honestly. That's the motivation that has been lost. But I feel like this time I want to come back. Been missing it a lot, and I was like, when can I come back? Can I come back now? I'm like, no, it's the same deal. And I'm like, we're getting closer and closer to rotation. Sure, I maybe start doing it. And I feel like, okay, I'm turning into my 30s. Maybe that should be the new my new way of moving on and actually do something for once. And I feel like that's going to be the case. I will go back to content again. New video will come out next week. Not sure when, but I've been thinking about the content for a long time, and you'll probably notice it when you see a lot of the videos. So anyway, yeah, that's a quick update what's been going on, and also a little bit right now how I feel about the formats. And because I've seen a couple of videos actually talking about how the format is, and I came down to some of the same conclusions that a lot of people are saying, because it's basically the same. And yeah, and by the way, this is the first take, just like raw, non-edited at all. It's just me, right? Just me yapping how the format is, and also yeah, how I've been. But yeah, I will try and be consistent with content and also do some streams now, with potentially also testing my current decks going into regionals. I'm not so sure about that yet, because I'm not sure what I'm going to play at the moment. So that can be a little bit questionable so far. But for going into pros rotation, maybe that could maybe change. But for now, I'm still figuring out what I want to play. So, but I'm definitely going to start streaming again over on Twitch, making some YouTube videos and here and there. So yeah, that is a quick channel update, and yeah, we're going back. So I'm excited for that, and not sure 100% when I'm going back, because right now I'm just building up everything from scratch again. And yeah, so we'll take some time before it looks a little bit more cleaner and a lot better. And also, while remember it, be sure to check me out on Menify. I've been doing a lot of Menify content lately, and that was like the first step of going back into content. And the more I've been doing the Menify stuff, the more like, maybe I should just go back to YouTube again. That doesn't mean I will not be back at Menify. I will still go back to Menify. I will still be in Menify and do all this. Again, my job is still a little bit stressful sometimes, but it's gone way better than it has been for the last year. So anyway, yeah. I was hoping to only have this video for about maybe 15 minutes, but now I see it's 27 minutes. Didn't really want to happen, but that's just the case sometimes when you're yapping and you don't think about how much time you're using. Okay, anyway. Alright, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and yeah. And also see you on streams. And also, if you're going to Birmingham, I'll see you there for sure. And if you're not going to Birmingham, I'll maybe see you in EUIC. See you guys next time.